is Sidnie from the Kaya, and today we are hanging out at the beautiful Wrightsville Beach in Wilmington, North Carolina. You are watching Bridging the Gap, and I've got a special guest today. We are hanging out with Selah Dubb. What's up, Mark?
How we doing?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I am doing excellent today.
Dude, so everyone should know that this is the view from your house.
Yes.
You just step out on your deck and see this gorgeous beach. How is it living on the beach?
It's life on the beach.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot done.
Yeah, right? Feel like it's always a vacation, you know?
Yeah, no, we're used to it. I've been here for a long time. We've had this place for many, many years, like 40 years. So.
Yeah. So it's a very important place. It's really cool. It's actually pretty warm here for a Wilmington winter, but per usual. I know you're from Boone, is that?
Back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. So this is a huge, climate change, I would say.
Yeah. Well, December we have a little warm snap, usually right up until about Christmas. And then a lot of times it'll snow around Christmas or New Year's. That little week, it always snows here for some reason, like every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then it gets cold, like so cold. January, February is like intolerably cold. And then March is a little bit cold halfway through, and then it starts warming up. And then you can get in the water like after Easter. Pretty much everyone can jump in the water with a long sleeve wetsuit top,
Right.
and you're good to go.
So yeah, you like surfing, right?
Oh yeah.
You do all sorts of outdoor activities. Do you have a favorite?
Well, out here we like to surf and sail and do everything in the water.
Yeah.
Go out there and do some snorkeling, do some diving. And we just we love the ocean, any kind of water sports, mainly surfing all the time.
Heck yeah. So, what has your musical upbringing throughout your life kind of been? How'd you get into doing music?
Well, I was fortunate enough to experience the history of the rock and roll revolution. I mean, my brother saw Jimi Hendrix.
No
You know what I'm saying? So he raised me. He was a little older than me, but he was like the Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead world of the '60s. Raised me as a kid with an incredible history of music all through my childhood. And then I grew into punk rock with the English punk movement, going into hardcore and skateboard and all that, which was very affiliated with reggae. Reggae was one aspect of it that where it kind of came from, the revolutionary aspect. And as I grew older, in the skateboard scene and stuff, there was a band called the Bad Brains.
Yes.
And we
Heck yeah.
became good friends with them. They'd come through and play in our little bar, and there'd be the Bad Brains. This is like the 80s, and they'd kind of give us knowledge, and that's really where I was told, hey, you can go play reggae. You can just like grow out of this punk rock thing and just play just reggae. And I was like, back then it was music was segregated in a different way. So reggae that wasn't necessarily something that a young little kid in high school would be playing like that.
Right.
So it was more for like an elderly, like a jazz tradition. Like these were some older guys that had a tradition, So it was like to get into reggae was like kind of a crazy idea back then.
Right.
So now it's just a normal thing. But
yeah, it's found its way to kind of weave its way through and kind of create, a bunch of different like subgenres.
All over the world.
And definitely you can hear all of those kind of different influences built into, the songs that you play and the songs that you write.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool to see how people's experiences, especially in different, decades of time, to see how that has influenced them as a person, but also as a songwriter, which you do a lot of. Do you have any favorite places to write music or record?
My music now, over the years I've learned to write my music in a different way. And it's just been different phases. As I learned different instruments, I would write music off of different instruments. But as I got into the studio in my later years here, I now write the songs in my head. Like I go out and run, put the songs together in my head and orchestrate them, and then I put them down in the studio myself and put the bass and the drum and everything together. So a lot of my songwriting really is just kind of like in my head while I'm running.
Yeah.
When I'm driving down the road, taking long drives on the road, and
Yeah, you literally get yourself into the groove, and it starts to just become a way of life. Because, I feel like rhythm is one of, like, the core components of life. Everywhere you go, even the rhythm of, the waves behind us crashing is just, like, always this flow.
Here. Oh, there's a flow and rhythm here.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard not to be inspired, especially, writing music.
My music comes out. All the music I've been writing the last 10 years has come out of this beach, and there's a definite. You can almost feel the ocean coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say sandy. Like I think I'm just like I just get this, sandy like shaking out your hair, after a long day on the sun. That's what I feel like after I listen to Selah Dubb for sure. So how did Selah Dubb come to be? How long have you guys been a band?
Well, we came out of that punk rock tradition. Me and my good friend Bert had a band called Sloppy Joe in high school, and it was like the Chili Peppers meets No Doubt meets the Bad Brains. We were just a crazy band.
That's awesome.
And it was like 7 kids, and me and him, as they grew up, me and Bert went off and moved up in the mountains and kind of lived a different, like more Ital life, and learned a lot about Rasta. Bob Marley was our big influence, and we almost became disciples of that original Jamaican reggae scene. Mm-hmm. And those people became, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Burning Spear, Jimmy Cliff. All that music was deeply important to us, and we were going to see these bands because they were coming into our area to play, and so we were like learning much from that, and dance hall was blowing up, and so we were just highly influenced from all that and moved to the mountains and started living an Ital life, and me and Bert started Selah, and it was kind of a radical idea to even start a reggae band back then, but we were like into the spiritual nature of it, as well as the nature of it being a backwards type music, much different from the blues and 3-chord rock and roll and progressions like that. It was a polyrhythmic progression, mm-hmm. and that was very interesting to us. It was almost like learning a different technique of music, and it gave us a whole new canvas to work with.
It's a new language.
Yeah, a new language. Mm-hmm. So working with that polyrhythm, we were like, there's no, rock and roll's been done. Everything's been done. We're not going to do this, and we want to do a more spiritual, more message music. And so all that came together, and reggae is just really, the deepest thing about reggae is it saved our lives in a time when a lot of people were living a pretty wild life. Mm-hmm. It gave us a structure and a balance and an mm-hmm. Ital way of being. When people were, the 90s were a pretty wild time. And so it gave us a little direction. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, that's awesome. I think it's great to see where things have started and where they are today, because that's the thing about music. Every day people are creating, and like-minded individuals are coming together, and I think to see something like that blossom into something as incredible as a song that connects and resonates with so many people, yeah. And it just is a way to communicate so many different aspects of life. Your life revolves around music all the time. I hear you got a podcast, that you do. So tell me about it. Let all the Kaya fans know.
Well, the Dubbcast is a thing I've been wanting to do for many years. I started up a few years ago, and I kind of stepped back from it as we had to restructure. But the last 6 or 8 months, I've finally gotten back into it. I've always been into podcasts for the last 10, 12 years, just tuned into all the fun podcasts out there.
Yeah, there's so many. They're
kind of
really
the nerd
blown up.
Yeah, just listens to the radio. I don't really watch TV or anything, so I like to have that going on when I'm working. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I've always wanted to have where I can interview my friends, because I got so many interesting people all around. Mm-hmm. So the Dubbcast has a lot to do with the musicians and the writers and all the thinkers around here, and the surfers and skaters and all the athletes that I know all over the place. And then I really want to get into some of these scientific things. I'm very much into some crazy science, and so.
Sweet.
I got some different scientists I want to get on here, different fitness trainers, fitness doctors, just different people on there that are super interesting. So.
Yeah, no, I dig it. I mean, that's what, we at the Kaya try to do too, like to give a platform to connect, people of our community and, put it out to the world, and hopefully share it to someone who maybe never heard of us and now,
exactly.
loves to tune in and see what it is we've got in store for the next video. So
well, you guys are doing a really cool thing.
Thank you.
I mean,
yeah.
It's really awesome. You've been showcasing all the good friends around here, and I think it's crucial because this North Carolina, what I call the low country reggae scene,
yes.
is just really cool.
No doubt.
So the world needs to know.
Absolutely. There is a huge, crazy diverse universe stuck in this little beach town.
Yeah.
So what else do you like to do on your off time when you're not playing music?
Well, My thing is, I surf all the time. I work out all the time. I play music all the time, and
just like repeat.
I do a lot of art. Just keep repeating. Channeled my art into the graphics a lot. You know, so I went to art school at ASU.
Awesome.
So I do a lot of. I can get lost in art a lot, but I try to just channel that into graphics and make a lot of shirts and do a lot of stuff. I can be productive instead of doing a lot of paintings and stuff that I can't do anything with. So I do a lot of art. I do a lot of music, and
it's cool how you were able to kind of use all parts of your brain and then create this entire product. You know, it's not just a song, it's t-shirts, it's, you know, poster artwork, it's album artwork, it's, you know, you always just get this avenue to kind of fully, you know, express, I think, the huge, immense, you know, meaning or truth behind your words. You kind of give it a visualization.
Well, I was lucky enough to go to an art school that really taught me how to put all that together. It was like a postmodern kind of thought pattern for the art school, so they taught me how to put all these things together and help me channel almost what I was getting ready to do, because I was already making the music and doing my stuff while I was in school. So,
right.
So it was cool. I had some cool teachers that were like, well, hey, look, let's just help you learn how to make these shirts and do graphic art better, and then you can make your music anyways. So
right, exactly. You know, why not?
They taught me a lot. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. So if you could go anywhere in the world, what would be your dream vacation?
Well, right now I'm targeting I have a good friend on the Big Island. Okay. And so I'm kind of targeting that, just to go, because it's just beautiful land there, and it's secluded, and maybe hit Oahu, hit some of those breaks there if I can take a little shuttle.
That's awesome.
I got some friends in Kauai, so I really want to hit the islands. Yes. Just for the novelty of it. I've never got to get there.
Yeah, me neither. I would love to go.
All my vacations have been like in the Rockies, or you know, hitting some mountains in Switzerland or wherever I hit in the mountains. Yeah. I was always hitting the mountains. So I got you. I really need to start hitting more beaches.
It's time to warm it up. It's time to bring the heat a little. So if you were to make $1 million for a gig, what would be the first thing that you would spend money on?
Oh, I think about that, you know, not because I'm, you know, I just think about the $1 million thing.
Right. Like, yeah, that's always the big question.
Because what I'm going to do with it.
If you had $1 million, or
yeah, I really, first things first is like help the circle of friends around me, and that's the main goal. Like to make sure I can set people up around me and get people going right. And then I wouldn't frivolously do anything with it. I think I would just use it to make sure that we had a nice little tour bus.
Yes,
a good
the essentials.
Touring situation, great equipment, and that's really all I want.
Awesome.
Maybe, I like that. You know, pay my management really good so we can get out there on the run.
Yeah, you know, give back, you know, to all the people who have helped you, you know. Yeah. I think that's what's beautiful about life. You can kind of, you know, reward people when you want to. And I think that would be a great way to spend your money on. So let's shout out all the social media so everyone can follow Selah Dubb, but Dubbcast podcast.
The Dubbcast can be found on any podcasting network.
Sick.
So it's just a Selah Dubbcast. That's Selah, SELAHDUBBCAST, the cast, the Dubbcast. Everything's with 2 B's.
Gotcha.
And then you can just check us out on, you know, Selah Dubb on Facebook. I'm Mark Evangelist, and so that's really how you get all my information on Facebook. I'm always on there too much, like everyone.
Right.
And and the podcast comes out once a week. And with podcast number 8 is getting ready to come out. I'm interviewing Tony Schiavone, the world title longboard champion.
Nice.
He lives right in Carolina Beach.
Wow.
He's won that like, I think 2 or 3 years, and he was shooting for it this year, but he had a hamstring pull, but he got 5th in the world. So
dang.
That's still pretty good.
That's crazy. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Wow, well, I'll definitely be tuning into that. And so should you guys. Please go on there, follow anything, everything, Selah Dubb. Kaya fam, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
One love and unity from the Dubb. Oh yes, love, 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 love. Bringing on the Kaya, bringing on the soul. One love, overlord, yeah, yeah, yeah. We thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Love to the Kaya. That's
Sheila